Hello again, everybody. Avery Pierce with Beast of Burden Enterprises, and today we're going to talk about a slightly more difficult throw. It's called the backwards 7. Now, it's called the backwards 7 for a couple of different reasons. In my previous video, we talked about handle length, determining the length you stand back from the target, the distance. And with my handles, they're all 17 to 18 inches long, and that was 5 paces from the target. Well, with this, we're going to pace 7 paces back from the target and throw the axe backwards. And what this does, at 5 paces, you have one full rotation with the axe, and then it hits the target. At 7 paces, you get one full rotation, and then another half rotation. So you can imagine if you throw it like this, it's going to hit like this and not stick. But if you turn it backwards, and you bring it up, and you throw, and it rotates, it will hit the target like this. Now, it's called backwards, like I said, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, you're throwing the axe backwards. And number two, you remember how we talked about when the axe hits the target, if it hits the target like this, you're too close to the target. And if it hits the target like this, you're too far back. Well, with this, if you hit the target like this, you're too close. And if you hit the target like this, you're too far back. It's backwards. Think about the way the axe rotates in the air. If it rotates and hits like this, it's rotating too much. And of course, if it rotates and hits like this, it's not rotating enough. This throw was designed because a lot of black powder competitions and even some Highland Gang competitions allows up to 5 throwers to throw at any given target before the axe is retrieved. So, of course, when you hit the target, your axe is dangling there and it becomes a target itself. So what people came up with was to throw the axe backwards and let the handle drop out of the axe. That way your head is in the target, and if anybody wants to hit your head with their blade, well, hey, let them. So, in order to get the handle to drop out of the axe, there's a couple different things you can do. Number one, you can sand the head down and just keep the axe loose when you go to throw it, or you can go the easy route. And the easy route is taking a furniture pin like this. It's not very long, and get the head of your axe where you want it, where it's loose, and make a mark, and then just take and drive that pin in the handle. I mean, nobody will really notice it. It's perfectly legal. There's no problems with it. It's not against the rules. And it's also not against the rules to stand at 7 paces. Most of the rules on these restrict how close you can be to the target. You can only be 5 paces to the target, but you can be as far back as you want to. So, there again, when you throw backwards, always remember everything is backwards. So if it hits like this, you're too close, and if it hits like this, you're too far back and it's rotating too much. So let's go have a look and see how this actually works. Alright, now what I've done is I've taken one of the tacks out of my handle and seated it firmly in the head. That way you can see how the axe hits. And if you've already got your 5 pace marks, you can just really step 2 paces back. But if you're going to do it from scratch, do like you did before. Stand with your back to the target and then pace 7 paces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On that 7th pace, mark where your foot is. That's where you want to stand. Then hold the axe backwards. Now be careful when you bring it up, watch your back, because you sharpen your axes, you can lay yourself open. You don't want to bring it up all the way back, just bring it up about this high. Bring it up, and throw. Now, it doesn't really matter if you stick the target from the start. Again, just try to hit the target. You don't have to throw hard. And with that throw, my axe is pretty well parallel with the target. And that is very important when you want your handle to drop out of the head. Because if you hit the target like this, your handle, matter of fact, this one's still ready. If you hit the target like this, your handle will slide down, hit the target, and not fall out. If you hit the target like this, your handle can lock against the target, and again, have so much stress on it that it won't fall out. So, like I said, go back to 7. Be very careful when you bring the axe up. Bring it up smooth and throw. That's really all you have to do. Now, this axe is still rigged with the pin. This one is not. If you don't have a furniture tack or anything like that, loosen the handle and keep it, where it'll slide pretty good in the head. And you may want to sand it down a little bit and get it good and smooth. And do the same thing. You just get the head loose, you bring it up, and you throw. And a lot of times it'll fall out. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes the handle will lock itself in the eye while it's throwing, the force of the revolution. But if you sand it down good and get it good smooth, you can even use graphite if it's a good dry day to get it slick. The other way to do it, if you get it good and loose and it just locks itself in the air, you can call what's called fingering the head. I know it sounds funny, but it has a purpose. You hold your fingers on your axe as you bring it up, over your shoulder, and then you throw. You can practice that, but I personally don't like it because it puts your arm in the way of your line of sight, and it's just too cumbersome to get your hand out of the way to sight. So I would suggest either using the tack or getting your handle good and slick. That's really about it for this type of throw. You'll notice that I'm using either the step and throw stance or the forward body stance. I don't like using the cross body stance with this throw. We're too far back from the target, and you need to be centered. And when you throw cross body, you have a tendency to throw off to the opposite side of your body. So that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, just message me. Again, I'm Avery Pierce with Beast of Burden Enterprises, and we'll see you next time. Be sure to join me next time when we talk about throwing multiple axes at one time. Oh, hell.